Budaki aliniambia nike mbali na yeye, due to the rain atungevuka hiyo terrain. Mimi ndo the main na kumwaria na mblame, acha nimdishi kupesa najua siwezi attain. Kifua imejaa moshi kila sana itajibita, nikana asma nimekimbia mita, kila kituoni wanadai mimi mzizi, nikani lazima kushika mzinga. Ulikuwa poa before kutinga, ulikuwa naokoa ukashindwa kulipa, sasa unaroroa unajiona umefika. Headshot nikanilipa board kupiga, hapo kibonga mbaya unazauliwa, pia ukibanja sana utashukiwa. Tulia usiforce baraka utafikiwa, si mganga na roga pa unasikiza siwa. Unalala kwa mtarono na moko, Alejandro nasikia una moko. Kwanza sema no, kwanza sema no to your jinga. Unapiga simu bila pesa mfukoni, ukifika simu you're not performing. Kwanza sema no, kwanza sema no to your jinga. Hati nikutumie dondo kuchonione, I'm the wrong don, I'm not that lonely. Hata kama ni show you got nothing on, uliza maniga Jijo from Kilifi. Homie yo Mr. Politician, where's the solution? Kutoka nikwe newborn, same condition. We change constitution, change our pollution, poor living condition, bias distribution. Flag girl is your friend bila when, make sense na sanse, nini shazed. Na washikisha ring wakimstaka Karen. When is charge, when is saka bench, it is special treatment sababu ina trend. Tembuni kuuliza wamekuandikia check, ni reality check hata ikuantaje. Unalipiwa rent unaniambiaje? Unalala kwa mtaro na una moko, Alejandro nasikia una moko. Kwanza sema no, kwanza sema no to your jinga. Unapiga simu bila pesa mfukoni, ukifika simu you're not performing. Kwanza sema no, kwanza sema no to your jinga. Unalala kwa mtaro na una moko, Alejandro nasikia una moko. Kwanza sema no, kwanza sema no to your jinga. Unapiga simu bila pesa mfukoni, ukifika simu you're not performing. Kwanza sema no, kwanza sema no to your jinga.
Yes, that is Siwasaida with Sema No featuring Skilo on his new album called on Siwasaida's new album called Mauru Unit. Yeah, so welcome to the show. It's a beautiful Saturday afternoon in the 254. It's 12:34 p.m. East African time, and we are in the building, and today we are going to be talking about a very interesting we are going to be having a very interesting conversation today. We are going to be talking about Africans who live Africa in pursuit of greener pastures and how it always ends for them. You know, each and every year we have thousands and thousands of Africans who look for the something called green cards. People who look for, you know, want to leave Africa and maybe go and try life elsewhere, go and try life in the West, go and try life in Europe, and how it always ends for them. You know, and somebody said nobody leaves home unless home is the mouth of a lion. Of course, everyone is comfortable when they are at their own home. So we are also going to be asking ourselves what really is the main cause that leads to Africans leaving their homelands, because everybody is supposed to be comfortable where they at their home, where they were born. It is how we were created as Africans. It is how we were created as humans. We are comfortable where we were born. We are comfortable at home. So what really happens what is the main cause of this mass exodus? Because it is a mass exodus with so many people trying to leave Africa, so many people trying to go to the West, so many people trying to leave their homeland in what I call greener pastures, but in quotes. We're going to be looking at whether they really are greener pastures, you know. And about 60% of Africa's population is young people. It's people younger than 24 years. And that is to tell you that Africa is majorly a youthful population. And estimates are that by 2100, Africa will be the youngest population on earth with a median age of 35 years. And so the projection and where we are right now, we are a youthful continent with so many, and one thing about a youthful, a population that is majorly comprised of youthful population is it is supposed to be so productive as compared to an aging population. A young population is supposed to be productive and more advanced as compared to other regions which have aging population. The demographic is leaning towards an aging population. An example is, you look at Japan, if you look at Asia, it's an aging population. Not majority of the demographics are old people who are not as productive as young people can be. And so Africa being a youthful population with demographic of youthful population, this comes with athleticism, this comes with vigorousness, this comes with a lot of productivity. So it is supposed to be a very productive continent. But now what is happening is we are exporting most of our productive labor force. And in exporting most of our productive labor force, then what we are doing is developing the other regions where we export, other continents where we export our labor to, leaving our continent underdeveloped. Because, for example, if you look at majority of the migrants to the UK last year were nurses. That is, majority of qualified Kenyan nurses migrated to the UK, and they are working there, and they are being assimilated there. So what that leaves is a very good healthcare system in the UK, but a poor healthcare system in Kenya and a poor healthcare system in Africa, because our qualified, it is mental, it is I don't know whether to call it brainwashing, or it is draining of professionals. If you have any good professional in Africa, any good engineer, any good nurse, any good doctor is poached, and they go to develop other regions. And for example, if you look at the number of nurses that went to the UK last year, that means the healthcare system in Africa and in Kenya is going to be poor, because there is going to be inadequate healthcare practitioners. But in the UK, for example, there is going to be a surplus in healthcare practitioners. So as I said, what we are doing is exporting our productive labor force. And when we export our productive labor force, then we leave little labor force to drive our development as a continent. And of course, this is because of so many reasons. One is that, every human is selfish to some extent. So, for example, if I am a nurse working in Kenya and I'm getting paid poorly in Kenya, and I'm being called to the UK to get a better salary, of course, they will want to go. So what Africa should do first is take care of its labor force, because this will prevent the raiding that is happening, because a lot of Africa's labor force is being raided. And a survey that was conducted last year showed that 65% of African youths would leave Africa given a chance. That is, they are only in Africa because they don't have a chance to leave Africa. And we are going to be talking about that and a lot of other things. We are going to be talking about massacres that have occurred because of Africans wanting to migrate. An example being there was a massacre that happened in Morocco a year ago, 2 years ago, and almost 100 lives were lost, with Africans trying to jump over the fence to enter Spain in a place called Melilla, if I'm not wrong. We're going to be talking about that and much, much more. And I can see Keith has joined me. How are you doing, Keith?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing today, Damari?
I'm doing all right too. Today we're talking about Africans who leave Africa thinking that they are pursuing greener pastures.
Let me ask you a question real quick before you get all that. Is Joby somewhere around? Is Joby around?
Yeah, Joby's around.
All right. Tell Joby that they took down that show yesterday. We were talking about Epstein. Let her know that all channels, Facebook, YouTube, that show is gone. As soon as you posted it yesterday, it was gone. It's gone. You noticed it too? Yeah, it's gone.
Looks like you were being too politically correct, Kid, yesterday. Looks like you were being too politically correct yesterday.
Yeah, the whole thing. I went back to try to find it and listen to it. It's gone. I went on Facebook. It's gone. Went on YouTube. It's gone. It's
they
gone.
Down Facebook. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's gone. So I wanted to let her know when we're over the target. See, the leader getting scared now. People know what's going on. Like I told you, I tried to explain, and I showed you how they make false heroes, as if they're fighting the establishment when they're actually part of the establishment, because their propaganda is sophisticated. So I knew when I explained that to Joby there was going to be a problem. They took that shit down. Because you're not supposed to understand how the world really works. You're supposed to be caught in Jesus and Allah and don't know how shit works and think people fighting for you when they're actually not. I said, damn, where that show at? God, they took the whole show down. God, they took the whole show on Facebook. I said, okay, well, let me try Facebook. I went to Facebook, said, no, not here. No, hell no. Because as you guys understand, Epstein is a bigger picture about how the elites run the planet, how they entrap people with sex, drugs. I told you, all drugs are run by the people that run this planet. All sex, all human trafficking is run by these parasite, psychopathic people we call elite that run this planet. Your Rothschild family, your Rockefeller family, the Wahlberg family. These people that run the world create all your wars. They the ones create all your terrorist groups. So too many people starting to know this now. All these goofy terrorist groups come at, and ain't nobody got who's funding it? These terrorists don't got no jobs. They don't got no money. So who's making all this terrorism in Africa? And now you guys see, did you guys hear that Israel is trying to set up a deal with the Congo to take the Palestinians? You guys hear that crazy shit? You heard that yet?
Nah, not yet.
Yeah. They want the Negro. Hey, you Negroes, take these other white people down there into the Congo. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah, right. And the Congo, because Tshisekedi is a puppet already. He said, yes, we'll do it. We'll do it, white daddy. We'll do it. He ain't got stability in the Congo himself. We're going to take millions of Palestinians in who are racist to black people. You can't make this up. You can't make this bootlicking handkerchief head nonsense up.
What reason did they give you for taking down the video? Hateful conduct? What reason did they cite? I want to know the fake reason that
they didn't put no reason. Now look, no reason, Jamora. Oh, you know the reason. They didn't put no reason on there. They didn't even strike the channel. They just took it down. They ain't strike no channel. Let me see if they strike the channel. Because usually, if you try to go live, so I went on each individual channel where Joby set it up at and tried to go live. So I can still go live. But they didn't give no reason. It's just gone, Jamora. It's gone. That's the reason. The reason is shut up, nigga. That's the reason.
They said, no, you can't talk about this.
All right. So I was like, dang. As soon as they got done, it was gone. I was like, dang. Wow. Just understand, family, you're dealing with a psychopathic group. And these other phonies are being exposed. I meant to send that video to Joby. The guy saying the same thing I was saying about Alex Jones. These other people being agents of the Israelis, of the Jewish elite. And I already knew that. I've been saying forever. So people sort of know what false flags are when you make you blow up shit, you blame somebody else. Because I told people, they've always wanted Russia. Russia's defending itself. They want to go in and break Russia up like the Congo. And so now they want a false flag on Russia so they go to World War III against Russia and blow the shit up. You understand? Russia's defending itself. You know, shout out to Russia. They luckily rebuilt their military because the West wanted to go and just completely wipe out Russia. These are just facts. And so the Americans, some of the white people admitting to find America, yeah, We want to wipe out Russia. You goddamn right. You want to wipe it out. You're goddamn right. They're coming out just saying, yeah, we want. That was always the goal. Go wipe Russia ass out and take it over. Exactly. I told you guys that years ago when the Rothschilds told the king of Russia back in 1800, hey, we need a Zionist bank in Russia. We need a Rothschild bank in Russia. And the king of Russia said, we're not putting no Rothschild bank in no Russia. You crazy? Get out of here. He said, I'm going to murder your whole family. These are facts.
And someone said, if you want to know who rules over you, look at who you are not allowed to talk about.
Who you're not allowed to talk about. You're not allowed to say these cats with the small hat. That's not allowed. You're not allowed to say that. So, understand, they set these organizations up. All these politicians have been blackmailed, bought and paid for. These are called honeypot situations, right? Now, they're going to come and erase this too because I'm saying too much now. These are called honeypot situations where you get movie stars. See, remember, every narrative they go along with these bootlicking movie stars, these bootlicking politicians. Whatever the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers say, they never go against it because they've been caught in honey traps with children, prostitutes. They've all been blackmailed.
And the funny thing about this whole situation, Keith, is a few years ago, if you talked about that island, they would have called you a conspiracy theorist. You know,
remember, tomorrow. I understand that the CIA, that don't work no more. Because remember, in the 60s, the CIA created that term, conspiracy theory, right? They created that term because they had killed the president, Kennedy, right? They said, this is how we're gonna symbolize people being a nut. We'll call him a conspiracy theorist. He's a conspiracy theory, right? So the CIA came up with that term. And that's a fact. So they've been using that all the time. So whenever they say, this is trying to discredit you. So you can look that up tomorrow and say, did the CIA create the term conspiracy theory? That's because people say, hey, this story about you killing President Kennedy, that don't make no sense. This guy didn't shoot no kid. Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, Damore. So that was to put you in the nut pile, to call you a nut. Damore's a conspiracy theorist. And automatically people think you're a nut. Go ahead.
Listen to what they say. So the article reads, there is a conspiracy theory that the CIA invented the term conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theorist for saying CIA created the term conspiracy theory.
That's them going up their track because everybody knew it was the CIA that created that term. Now they don't want to even know no more. Because you guys are searching too much information. Now it's a conspiracy theory that the CIA created the word conspiracy theory.
They think the term conspiracy theory after the Lee Harvey Oswald case.
Exactly. Lee Harvey Oswald and John Kennedy. That's a fact. See, they even know. That's why they tell you, because they know that's the fact. Because people said, and look, and remember, so I want you to know how they lied to you right now, Damore. I want you to learn discernment, right? So we know now that the CIA killed Kennedy, right? But when they said that then, it was what? Called a conspiracy theory. So we know that the CIA had to create the word because they said Lee Harvey Oswald for 60 years killed President Kennedy. Now it's a known fact now, Damore, that the Mossad, Israeli intelligence, and along with the CIA, killed President Kennedy. These are facts. So see, so we know they created the conspiracy theory because they said, when people said, hey, Lee Harvey Oswald didn't kill no President Kennedy, this sounds phony. Oh, that's a conspiracy theory. But now we know you did kill him. We know that's a fact. So that's how you know they created that word at that time. Because they told you Lee Harvey Oswald was a conspiracy theory by saying he didn't shoot President Kennedy because they say he did. And we know now that the CIA killed his ass, along with the Israeli Mossad. See, that's how you put it together, so you won't be gaslighted. You know they're lying to you. Because everybody knows now, without a doubt, 60 years later, that the CIA had John F. Kennedy murdered. Had the President of the United States' head blown off. That's a fact. They don't even deny it no more because who cares? Who are you going to lock up? Everybody who was involved is dead. So what? That's right, we killed his ass. He didn't do what we told him to do. But back then, it was called a conspiracy theory, Demore, where you didn't agree with Lee Harvey Oswald killing Kennedy. Like, that story don't even make any sense. So, yeah.
They'll call you a conspiracy theorist for saying they created the term conspiracy theory.
Yeah, but you know that's a lie.
You can't make this up.
See, they destroyed their own lives because now we know that Lee Harvey Oswald was a conspiracy theory that they made up because he didn't kill President Kennedy. The CIA killed his ass, along with the Israeli Mossad. They killed John F. Kennedy because he said, "I'm gonna get rid of these damn cats with the small hats in this federal bank that they own." This is why they killed Kennedy, Demore. Kennedy said, "I'm gonna get rid of the CIA. I'm gonna break it up. It's not even supposed to exist. And then I'm gonna get rid of the Federal Reserve Bank." Remember the bank? That's how they print all their funny money, Demore. I think that's how they got control of the world, making this fake money. He said, "I'm gonna get rid of that bank and the IMF. I'm getting rid of all that shit. IMF and the World Bank. I'm gonna get rid of it." And they said, "No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not gonna get rid of it. They got a bullet in your head for you." So they murdered his ass. Didn't no long gunman called Lee Harvey. Like, get out of here. Some half-baked country bumpkin white man. Hey, you don't get out of here with that big story.
I actually never knew that they killed Kennedy because he wanted to touch the Bretton Woods institutions. I thought it was something to do with the Jews or something.
Well, it was something to do with that. He said, "Why are we buying money as an American country from these families? Why are we not printing our own money?" Because the scam is that they print the money the more we pay them to print money for us. Why? Who the fuck are they? Why are we buying money from these people? That's why Kenya's in debt. Nigeria's in debt. These people print money from nothing, Demore. Why should we pay to get loans from the IMF and the World Bank? Hey, who gave them the right to give us fake money? So that's what he was saying. He said, "Listen here.
It's a house of cards, and it amazes me how it has stood for so long. You know, the fact that people have never really noticed that money is created out of nothing, and they have to work for it."
Yeah. So you're changing your labor with fake paper. Exactly right. They buy real resources around the world with fake paper. So Kennedy saying, "Hey, it's illegal for us to even be printing this shit because in our Constitution, America's supposed to be printing its own dollars. That's why you look at the American dollar bill, it don't say American dollar. It says Federal Reserve note. Federal Reserve is owned by those people, by the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. It ain't owned by America. Like, put the image of the American dollar. And you look at it, it says Federal Reserve note. It don't say United States note. It says Federal Reserve.
It is not even the property of the United States, the property of the Federal Reserve.
Exactly. So who owns the Federal Reserve? United States don't own that shit tomorrow. These families own it. And so Kennedy's like, "Hey, we gotta get rid of this shit." Because in 1913 they took over the country. They bribed, like you said, they bribed all the congressmen. They put them in blackmail, said, "You're gonna sign that bill, making that bank. Yeah, this bank's illegal, but you're gonna sign it. We're gonna put a bullet in your head, or we're gonna expose you sleeping with children." Even way back then, over 100 years ago. So they put that bank in 1913. That started controlling America under what? The small hat. And so by 1960, President Kennedy said, "This got out of control. We got to get rid of this fake bank. This got to go." putting in debt. This is causing our children to be impoverished. This is causing debt. And paying people for nothing. This don't make no sense. I'm gonna get rid of it. You gonna do what? What you gonna do? They gonna get rid of the CIA. I got what? You gonna do what? Okay. We okay. All right. So they always start planning to blow his damn head off. And every president after that has been a puppet. There are no elections in America. The presidents of America don't run no America. They're a puppet. Button paid for. Good.
And talking about, I know this is not what we are supposed to talk about today. So before we get to export of labor and how Africans are running away from Africa. So talking about Bretton Woods and currency.
This has something to do. This is the reason why they run away from Africa.
We are coming back to talk about that.
This is that reason. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. So this week there has been a lot of news circulating on East African governments fast-tracking their efforts to have East African shillings, and I've shared a picture of the East African currency. It is supposed to come out, I don't know by the next how many months, in the next few months. I don't know what to think.
It don't work. It don't work because Katie already found out it's backed by the Rothschilds bank, so it's a lie. It's garbage. It's phony. Unless you own your own bank. Remember, the Kenyan bank is a Rothschild bank. You don't own it. The Central Bank of Kenya, all African central banks are Rothschild owned. That's a fact. Until you create your, that's only one wasn't was Gaddafi. That's why they murdered his ass. He didn't have a Rothschild bank. So until you actually own your own real bank and then create your own real currency, devoid of these families, like in America with the fake dollar, it's fraudulent, Damari. It's nonsensical. You don't own it. So how are we gonna come up with an East African currency? You don't own the shit. So who cares?
So they're projecting.
Then you're gonna call it the shit. Then you're gonna call it the shilling and the franc. Those are British and French names. How about you name it some African name? The shilling. What are you talking about? That ain't even African.
They were saying it is going to start working by the end of 2024. The common currency between Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, which I think is bullshit, by the way.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's stupid because how you gonna have a common currency when your borders are not open with each other? So it can't even work. It's stupid. It's actually, this is political theater, political nonsense. You don't have open borders to even cross-share the currency that you don't even own.
It is political theatrics. It is theatrics. They're just creating circuses.
Exactly. Because your border's not open with Uganda. Your border's not open with Tanzania. Your border's not open with Rwanda. Your border's not open with Ethiopia. These are closed borders. So if you got a closed border, because these despots need the borders closed, because if you have open borders, people will have information to share with one another, and they might overthrow your stupid ass. They might throw you puppet.
We also saw Kenya open its borders to the whole world in a visa-free plan starting January this year. I don't know what you think about that also, the fact that anybody can now walk right into Kenya without a visa.
Did he say anybody? I know he said everybody. I thought he said people of African descent.
Anybody can walk into Kenya right now.
Oh, well, hold on. So that's how I know. I want you guys to understand what this is. Same thing in America. That means Ruto. You guys don't know Ruto's a puppet, a despicable puppet. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to explain to you. You're caught up in your goofy tribal shit. This Negro is despicable. What he's doing is collapsing the borders of Kenya, making a non-country. What they're trying to do, that's what the Rothschilds want to do now. They want to make one world government, collapse these governments under their control. That's what they're doing with America right now, destroying it from within. See, if I own the money of America, which they do, I dictate policy. These fake presidents and Congress people don't do shit but do what I tell them to do. That's nothing but political theater. I own the goddamn country. I run its government because I print the money that pays they no good ass. I do it. So that's why you got America being destroyed with all these what? Open borders. All these illegal aliens are now flooding America. Why is nobody stopping them? Because that's what the Rockefellers and Rothschilds want. They said, I already told you, to complete the New World Order, we must implode America. We must destroy the shit. We must destroy it. Because remember, their new system was China. Glad somebody finally realized this. But forever. But you think China just got money? But Rothschild, you fucked up. You fucked up. China is fucked up right now. It might implode. China might. You guys didn't handle China good enough. China's bankrupt. It might implode in the next 20 years. And that's why you got to now do depopulation, because China's demographics is all fucked up. They're dying. See, that's the dirty shit you damn no good bastards didn't think about. That's the no good shit when you guys tried to move America, gave it everything. We know it's the fact that all our technology, since the Israelis run the country, they took all our technology, took it to Israel, then gave it to China. These are fucking facts. I'm like, you think I'm stupid? How the fuck is this poor ass China becoming an economic power? And they don't got shit. The Africans be sitting there, oh, they're pretty magnificent. Look what they did. Are you out of your fucking mind? Are you stupid? Yes, you're stupid. So China was supposed to be a new empire, but the demographics are fucked up. The demographics is not going to be able to sustain an empire. So that's why you taught China to do the same shit you were doing. Go into Africa and try to make a bunch of goddamn mixed babies up in that bitch. See, the same thing, copy and paste. And so you'll have a mulatto group of people running once your original people die to fuck off. So you can still control Africa through the mulattoes, because whoever controls Africa controls the world. Because there's no continent richer than Africa. Africa is where all the real wealth is at. Since the Africans don't control shit, that's why they're impoverished all over the globe. Not just in Africa, everywhere. African people are impoverished on the bottom because we don't control that continent anymore. So they're going to have Chinese come in the back door and make these half African, half Chinese, because these African women have not been educated by the dumbass puppet leaders. Oh, I want to get out of my poverty. Let me have a mixed baby. And being black is bad. I don't like being a nigger. Being black is wrong. I hate my black self. So the self-hate that was perpetuated through colonialism perpetuates itself now. And it makes you easily be conquered because you don't know who you are as African people. You have no value in being African. So China already told you that continent of Africa belongs to us. We're going to take it. I don't think they're going to have enough. I don't think they're going to have enough time because the demographics are too fucked up. And there's too many black babies being born. We're going to more.
Yeah, so coming back to what we were talking about today, we are talking about how Africans leave Africa for the West in pursuit of what they call greener pastures. And I was looking at a certain report here, and it says, the main reason why this happens is because of bad leadership in Africa. That trickles down to unemployment in Africa. There's so much unemployment in Africa. It is so hard to find a job in Africa.
It's deeper than that, Demore. It's not that you got bad leadership. These individuals in Europe, these families, have installed bad leadership in Africa. It's not by that. These things are not accidental, Demore. They're not like osmosis. I told you. You think it's a coincidence that all African countries got bad leaders? That's a statistical. You've been in college. I'm sure you studied statistics. That's a statistical impossibility, Demore, that everybody's fucked up. Go ahead. Yeah,
it is impossible.
Yes, it's a statistical improbability unless there was an outside factor causing it. And that's what it is. That's why you got the most despotic, listen, I hate to use him as a test case. Stephanie is an absolute moron, Demore. Absolute psychopathic moron. And he's how in the world, in any country that's run fair and honest, that this dude could ever be a president? There's no way. You wouldn't, Demore, you wouldn't make him president of your shoe store. That's all country. No way. But that's on purpose. You're like, so these guys are not leaders. They're puppets and psychopaths.
And talking about unemployment, kid, it is crazy because if you look at some of the numbers you see in Africa. If you look at a country like Sudan, for example, about 52% of the people in Sudan are unemployed. That is
So you said 52% of Ugandans are unemployed, right?
Yeah. So
that means you don't have an economy, Demore. You don't have a real economy. It doesn't exist. Over half of your people, Demore, are unemployed, are in poverty.
Yeah, it doesn't work. How are you going to grow into anything?
Yeah.
Are you ever going to develop when half of the population cannot even work, cannot find work? And unemployment is the number of people who are willing to work but cannot find an opportunity.
You have a banana republic. You have a country that's not a country. It does not work. It's mostly it's almost run as it's like, I don't want to be disrespectful. It's like run like a damn mafia. You got a mafia country. It's not a country. It doesn't work. It's not real. It's ran by a despot too, so it's not. That's why I told Marie I'm gonna have to pull the Ugandan stuff. It's costing me too much money because don't nothing work right. The electricity don't never hardly be on. The internet's too high. I told Maria today I might have to pull the plug on that Ugandan shit. It's bleeding me too much money. It's not cost effective. And it's not personal, it's business. It's not cost effective for me, Demore, to keep the Ugandan studios open because you never got no power. I can't pay you full time, which I've been paying you for working an hour and a half a day. And then the internet, you're telling me the internet costs more. How does it cost more? You're not even working. What are you talking about? You working like 2 days a week. How the fuck is the internet costing all this money you talking about? It's crazy as cat shit to me. Huh?
That's crazy.
Yeah, somehow because the internet, we pay $35 a month. Okay. It's over $35 a month. There's Keith, it's not enough for data. We're not paying for no data. I put a satellite in there that have recurring internet. We get some of this data. I said, listen here, Maria, either you think I'm fucking stupid, you and Settle don't never work. You work 2 days a week, and at 2 hours. Is it fair for me to pay you a full wage when everybody in Kenya works 5 to 8 hours a day? Now I'm paying you what I pay them. Is that fair? No. That's not me being harsh. That's me being honest. It's not cost effective for me to keep you guys running. It doesn't make sense. It's bad business. You telling me the internet I'm paying you is not enough? $35. I paid to put the internet up in there. And you guys don't even come on. But maybe twice a fucking week for 2 hours. So you telling me I'm supposed to pay you full-time wage for 4 hours a week. 4 hours. So in 2 weeks, that's 8 hours, right? 8 hours of work. In 2 weeks, I'm supposed to pay you 2 weeks worth of pay, which I've been doing. Are you out of your fucking mind? Go ahead.
That banana republic is in the mud. It is in the mud. It is so underdeveloped, even if you were to compare it with other countries in Africa. I know we are in the mud, but
I got to do 200. Exactly, tomorrow. It's too underdeveloped. I can't justify keeping it here. It's too underdeveloped. I told Marie, it's too underdeveloped, Marie. It's not going to work. It's bleeding me too much money. You guys can't come on, and you guys expect me to pay you what I'm paying the guys in Kenya. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way I can pay you what I'm paying people in Kenya. But I've been doing it. I've been doing it because I'm nice. But now, no. So most likely at the end of the month, Uganda is done. That's a done goddamn deal. It just is what it is. So like you said, it's 52% unemployment. And then you want to talk crazy to me about, there may be other media companies we can go to. Maria, what the fuck you think you're talking to? You in Uganda. There are no jobs in Uganda. You crazy? That's even what I'm paying you guys. Are you out of your fucking mind? Africans be killing me with this. I'll just go get another job. Shit. You go get another job where? Where you getting this job at? Where? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You insane. You get another job where? So, we'll see. Anyway, like I said, and it's because of these despot families that everybody wants to go to Europe or America because Africa's been drained economically on purpose. The despots have helped do it, from the Kenyatta family in Kenya, the Goofy Museveni's in damn Uganda, the Kofi's in Ghana, the moron Tinubu in Nigeria, the Ramaphosa's down in South Africa, the moron in Zimbabwe, Managua.
The sad part, kid, it gets even crazier. For the 52% that is unemployed, some of them will try to start their businesses and maybe indulge in agriculture. Then listen to how crazy it gets. For example, in Nairobi, for you to run a business, let's say a hotel business, a water vending business, you need about six permits for you to run a single business. That is, you
need six what?
Permits for you to run a business. And these are the permits that you'll need. You'll need a
trading. Wait. Say it again. You said 6 what?
6 permits for you to run a business. That is for the 52% is unemployed. You try to create your own employment. So you are going to need 6 permits in your business.
Oh, 6 permits. Yeah, because that's crazy. 6 permits.
So listen to the permits that you need to run a business in Nairobi. You need a trading license, a fire clearance certificate, an advertising signage license, a health certificate.
Wait.
Uh-huh.
Hold on, Demore. You need an advertising license?
Yeah, you need an advertising license.
God damn.
You need a health certificate license, and you need a food hygiene license. That is for you to be able to run a business. You've not even bought the stock for the business. But before you open the doors of the business, you need those 6 licenses on the table.
How much are the licenses? Hold them up. How much are the licenses, Demore? How much are they?
For example, a trading license goes for about $6,000. That is about $60 a year.
So all these damn licenses, I'm broke. I'm trying to understand these are British systems that were installed to keep you fucked up. Because you don't need why would I need all these licenses? And I'm not advertising. Why do I need an advertising license? And also, family, this is all nothing but tax collection. This is a way so the government can, this is corrupt government funding themselves. This is overtaxation. So that's why a lot of companies, when they come to Africa, the white companies don't pay none of that shit, the more I just said. When they bring the white people in, the Arabs in, they listen, we're not going to bring none of our shit here, pay none of that shit. You tax your niggas that shit, not us, or we won't be in your country. Those taxes are outrageous. What Jamar just said is outrageous.
Just tell me how you are going to keep your business afloat when you still need to pay. For example, let's give an example of someone who has a mega store. That is a mega store in Kenya. A single business permit is 90,000 Kenya shillings for a mega store. That is about how many dollars? 90,000 Kenya shillings is about $90. $900. It's about $900.
It's like $900, ain't it?
$900 for a year. That is $900 for a mega store. That is just the business.
A year.
Yeah, that is one of the 6 business permits you need to open a mega store. And this is someone who has tried to secure employment and they have not found employment anywhere. So they've decided, let me start a business so that I can employ myself and maybe a few other Kenyans. And this is just for the licenses. You still have to pay for payee. You still have, some of these taxes, and most of these taxes are very, very oppressive, and it is what keeps.
It doesn't make sense. That's exactly what but the more just said, those taxes stop job creation. Because I can't afford your taxes and employ people at the same time. I can't afford that, especially in a developing country like Kenya that doesn't have a robust economy. It doesn't have manufacturing in it. That don't even make any sense. You're sabotaging yourself for not even creating growth. That don't make any sense. You're stopping job creation.
Mm-hmm.
But so
let me explain to you what this advertising signage license is. So, for example, if you run a business and you have a truck, and the truck has the name of your company on it, maybe a lorry has the name of your company on it, so you have to pay for that. You are advertising yourself. Or if your business is next to the road and then you put up a sign saying kids supermarket, so you have to pay for that because you are advertising yourself. So that is
but that should go to the government. That should go to the person that owns the track. Do you own that track? Are you the one owning it? Did you build it, or the government build it?
It is my truck and my business, but I have to pay the government for writing the name of my business on the truck.
That don't even make any sense. That don't make any sense because you own it. That don't make any sense. That's going to look. That don't even make any sense. That's why. See, because they've stolen so much money, these desperate out of the economy. So now they nickel and dime trying to steal more money back so they can pay out that debt that they owe. And even with the debt they don't pay back, they steal the other money from the new taxes that they collect. This shit is crazy because what you just told me, Demore, don't even make any sense. And see, in America, this shit like that would cause a revolution. How the fuck am I paying you for some shit I built on the side of the road with my business? Are you insane?
They'll explain it to you and tell you that you are advertising yourself, so you have to pay 25,000 Kenya shillings for it.
That's crazy as hell. What's that, $25? How much is that? 25,000, how much is that?
Kenya shillings is about $250.
You're crazy as hell. I gotta pay that thing. What? Man, what? Out of your rabbit ass mind.
So that is how this is one of, I'm trying to explain to you one of the reasons why we are experiencing a mass exodus of people living up for the West, because
your
own job, they come for you.
Yeah, because they're not sponsoring any kind of job growth. Because with all the corruption in these governments, they have now stifled job growth some more. You can't have job growth with all these damn restrictions, with all these taxes. All taxes stop business growth. That's business 101. I'm a business major. That's business 101, Demore. But they're so corrupt, they felt they got no choice because they got to fund all the debt from the money that they stolen. But you can't fund And understand this, Demore. It's the small businesses that run a country, not the mega companies. Small businesses, just like in America, small business run the country, not the big ones. That's what does most of your employment.
Corporations never pay taxes.
Yeah.
The big corporation, they never pay taxes. It's only the
no, because they got the power to go and say, listen here, I'm not paying for none of this shit. You understand that? You want me here? And they're also buying out the politicians. I'm not paying for none of this shit. Because it destroys job growth. So if you look at America, just type this up, say, is small business the number one employer in America?
Mm-hmm.
And it is. Well, I don't know. After the pandemic, they've been trying to destroy all the small businesses in America because they want that new world order shit. But small businesses are the number one employers in America, not big business. So because you can't have oppressive tax codes like you got in Kenya, it stifles business. Demore, it stifles it. They're destroying business growth in Kenya. By what you just said. Talking about some damn advertising tax. You out your fucking mind? What? All these crazy taxes, what?
And then if you want to know, it gets even crazier because for a small business, a small business has to pay all these licenses. But then if you look at, for example, I read you something in the Kenyan tax guidelines. So there is an exercise duty section 7 of the act that was in 1969. So there is a cap in this section that exempts families of former presidents from paying taxes. That is the Kenyattas and the Mois, and they own majority of.
How about that?
They do not pay taxes. They were exempted from paying taxes. That is, if you don't believe me, you can check the Estate Duty Act cap 483.
No, I believe you because I know this is all set up by the British to make sure their puppets would be all right. And
so imagine a multi-billion companies such as owned by former presidents, they do not pay taxes. But a small business, my hotel will have to pay 5 permits for it to operate. So look at how crazy that is. And it is what you are just explaining is also the case in the United States. You know, they trying to oppress the low-income people so that they make the gap between the poor and the rich bigger.
Yeah, and it's so corrupt in Africa now that you can't create business like you just said, Demore. What you just said is, and anybody knows this as a business degree. What you just said, Demore, is counterproductive. It's counterproductive to business, Demore.
And I want you to listen to how crazy this is. So they do not even hide it. So I'm reading directly from the Estate Duty Act of Kenya, Section 7. So it says, and I quote, this estate duty shall not apply to His Excellency Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, the first President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Republic of Kenya. So all those estate duties that were mentioned, they do not apply to him. It is literally in the Estate Duty Act. That is crazy.
Wow. Yeah. Yes, Demore. It's criminal. Not crazy. It's criminal. But they know most Africans are not smart as you. Don't even know the code. Don't understand what's going on. It's not crazy, Demore. It's criminal. It's criminal. And it's criminal, Demore. It's criminal. Even though they made it a law, Demore, it's immoral. It's criminal. What they did.
Specific name mentioned that this person shall not pay taxes, and that person owns about half of. He controls Kenya's exchange in terms of
what they did. What they did, Demore, they legalized criminality. What you just said is criminal, Demore. They've legalized criminality. Like I said, we're like what? A mafia. Like the mafia. They legalized criminality. So that's why you find yourself not going to start a business because small businesses run the country. I know most people think big, but they don't, Demore. That's why I had you look that up. Small businesses run a country. That's why everybody's fleeing Africa, because small businesses can't exist. You think these despots don't know that? Anybody took any business course, Demore? No, small business runs your country, not big business. Small businesses make you a viable economic power, not the big ones. Because small businesses are going to be most of your employment. So if I got 20,000 permits I got to do. God damn, I ain't got no money to be paying no fucking money around here. Shit,
No,
talking about.
you need to pay for advertisement. You're lucky you're not in Kenya. And hello, General Mosquito, who's in the building. Welcome to the show, General Mosquito. And so let's say you avoid the two. You do not get a job and you do not start a business. And you decide, I'm going to be a farmer. I'm going to do agriculture in Africa. So this is what happens if you decide to become a farmer.
I'm going to have to be a criminal and knock somebody in the head tomorrow. Go ahead.
Before you become a criminal, if you decide to become a farmer, for every 100 shillings you make, you are supposed to pay 5 shillings in tax, in the new tax plan. So for every $100 you make, you have to pay $5 to the government. And that is after you've taken the licenses for your farm. If you are rearing chickens, you have taken licenses for the chicken, licenses for your cattle. So after that, for every 100 shillings you make, you are going to pay 5 shillings to the government of Kenya. So it's that crazy.
What? That's how every 100 shillings I make, I'm paying 5 shillings to the damn government?
Yeah, you have to pay 5 shillings to the government after you've taken the licenses. So there's really
whoa. I got to pay for licenses every damn year. And then I got to also pay these motherfuckers.
This is just a new tax plan. It is a new tax plan that is being implemented. And I know I'm talking about
family. This because Kenyan officials have stolen so much money, family. This tax plan don't even make any sense. It's because the corrupt officials have stolen so much money. This tax plan that the mortgage said don't even make any damn sense.
And don't think this is a Kenyan problem. I'm talking about Kenya because
no,
I'm
this
from
Africa.
Kenya.
This Africa. I know. I'm just saying. This Africa. This Africa.
Problem. Yeah, if you go to Nigeria, you go to Ghana, I'm sure they are facing the same situation.
They are. It's because of that. They are. No doubt, Demore. They are. No doubt.
This is crazy to say. So you cannot. So this is why we are having people running away from Africa. You cannot get a job, and if you get a job, you are taxed. I know you have to pay housing levy. You are taxed. Literally, you are taxed to the core. If you get a job, if you are lucky enough to get a job,
if you guys remember, there was a white gentleman, the economist that Katie showed one time, telling the truth that you can't do business in Africa because the taxes are too high. They don't make any sense because these despots have stolen so much money. That's the only way they can do to pay back the loans from the money that they stolen. They haven't used the money to develop shit in Africa. They've stolen it for their own personal benefits. And now they're taking this. They've highly taxing the country. That puts it into depression to try to pay back the shit that they stole. And that doesn't work. It puts you in perpetual poverty. Good, Demore. Great.
Yes, and now we have reached a point where the government is no longer pretending. You know, at first the government would pretend and say we are going to create employment opportunities for you people. Now they've taken off the mask. So this is what the government said. Go look for jobs elsewhere. It is not possible for us to provide employment opportunities in Kenya. And President Ruto, speaking in Wasingishu, outlined his plan to export 1 million workers abroad by the end of his term.
Exactly. So you understand that they know they destroyed the job situation in Africa. That's why they try to export African workers. They destroyed the African job market, Demore. Like you're right. They know that. They know what they've done. You have to be an absolute moron not to know this. They know what they've done. It's not sustainable, Demore. You can't put taxes on people and expect their economy to grow. It's counterproductive.
Definitely, the first cohort to be exported will be soon. The first cohort is 1,500 young people. They will be exported to Israel to work on farms. That is the first cohort.
Why they got bombs dropping on their head? Hey, farm that cabbage over there, nigga. Hey, but there's a bomb next to it. Don't worry about it.
I mean, they are exporting people to a country that is at war. Everyone else is running to there, but we are taking our people there. And I saw an interview done on that. I'll share the video. I saw an interview done. Somebody was asking Kenyan youth whether they would be willing to go to work in Israel, and they were willing. They were saying, "There's nothing we are doing here. There's no job. My family needs to eat, so I'll just go."
Exactly. You're putting dire straits, Demore.
Mm-hmm.
You're putting dire straits. You got a choice. You're putting dire straits. You're living hand to mouth. You got to help. You might, that puts your country's been so badly managed. You got no choice. You got to eat somehow. So it's sad, but that's what they've done. Shit. I'll go to Saudi Arabia. It got me all kind of weird shit. Got me stuck in the penis of a dog or some shit.
And so this was an interview done by Al Jazeera on. They were asking Kenyan youths whether they would be willing to go to a place that is currently undergoing conflict and that you are more likely to be killed than to be paid. And I hope they don't take this video down because of copyright. But I want you to see how desperate, the level of desperation youths in Africa are in right now. They are willing to go for the man.
20 years. He says he'd work in Israel if given a chance, and he's not put off by the risks of conflict. Ngugi's been working on farms in Kenya for about 20 years. He says he'd work in Israel if given the chance, and he's not put off by the risks of conflict.
I want to bring up my children well, but I've never had the chance, because I've never had a good job where I can stand on my own 2 feet. If this chance is the one, I can help my parents, and I can build for my family.
Most are from Thailand, including these men who were captured and later released by Hamas. Others were killed. Israel's also revoked work permits for Palestinians. Now it's turning to African countries to plug the gap. More than 200 farm workers left Malawi for Israel last month following a secret deal with the government. Last week, here in Kenya, the Labour Ministry said it would send 1,500 workers who will each be paid $1,500 a month. There are millions of people in Kenya who live in homes like that and work on farms growing crops like these, for which many earn about $200 a month.
Okay,
so the money
I
on
want
offer.
You to say one thing. I've just paused it for a minute so that I can explain something here. If you look behind this man, for example, the youth who was interviewed in this video is not from a city. He's from a rural area. And if you look at behind him, there is a farm. So he can farm for himself and he can sell produce. But now there is so much taxation, even on farm products, even on farm produce. So this gentleman will probably not make enough money to cater for his family, even if he was to decide to venture into farming. Because if you look at the crops behind and how healthy they are, and the amount of money this person would probably generate if they went into farming, let's say chicken farming. But now, if he decided to go into chicken farming, then Ruto and KRA will be there looking for taxes. And this guy probably does not have enough money to start the chicken farm, leave alone to pay the taxes. Now, that is why when he hears that he's going to be paid $1,500 a month, then they'll go because they have no choice, really.
In Israel is hard to refuse. Realistically, many of the jobs access to the recruitment companies, but while it may seem like a good opportunity to many, political opposition say the arrangement is problematic and exploitative. Israel's previously been criticized for its treatment of African migrants, and white groups have reported abuses of foreign farm workers. Israel says migrant workers have the same rights as Israeli citizens.
There is a level of transparency. We know the genocide they are committing in Gaza. That's just to hoodwink the world that we are still okay as a country, but we all know that's not true. I mean, these arrangements with presidents, weak African presidents that are not able to build their own countries, is trying to sanitize itself.
Kenyans are struggling with soaring living costs. The farmers here say whatever the risks, the chance of earning more abroad is too good to turn down. Malcolm Webb, Al Jazeera, Kikuyu, Kenya.
So that is the situation we see. Yeah. This is the productive demographic of the population, because this is the youthful population. It is the population that builds a country, builds a continent, young people. But now we are exporting this demographic of the continent to other regions, leaving our continent underdeveloped. And it's just crazy. And this is just one of the examples. We have had other trade agreements. For example, there are women, so many Kenyan women, African women in the Middle East, in the Gulf, and they are not treated like humans, to say the least.
Treated like shit. They're treated like shit. Because the African is right. Because the African is, these leaders are considered backward and stupid. They know they're not going to ever do anything to stop the abuse of the people. They already know that. That's why the abuse is always ongoing. That's why the abuse is ongoing. And like the guy from Al Jazeera, the black guy he was interviewing in Kenya, yeah, this helps the puppets go away from the complete disillusion of them ever building a country. See, you've had 60 years of African rule in Kenya, and they have never built a real country. See, these questions. See, I can defer those questions if I keep sending my youth out of the country to try to make money. Like, why have you built those jobs in a country inside of Africa? Not just Kenya, Africa, period. This is all of Africa. Why haven't you built the countries that have employment? All you Negroes have been in power 60 years. It means either everybody's stupid or there's something behind it. Everybody can't be retarded. Why you ain't built any damn industries for businesses? It doesn't make any sense. So there's some kind of agenda going behind it that's saying that, no, we're going to keep Africa poor. We're going to keep our despots in. It's not going to work. And when we need cheap labor, we'll send the African to go where we need to go to be exploited.
And I get what you're saying, Kid, because it is crazy. Because first and foremost, I'm not giving you a job. But then even if you create your own job and you want to create an employment opportunity for maybe your fellow Africans, I'm still going to come after you. So I don't want to give you a job. I don't want you having a job. I don't want you creating a job for anybody else. I want you poor. If you look at it, then it is a very, very clear agenda, because if it was just, let's say it was just the government not caring, the government not wanting to, the government being stupid. If it was just the government not caring, then it would also not care when I start my own business, It would let me start my own business. After all, it doesn't care. But this is a government that cares. It cares about you being poor.
Yeah, it's easier for me to control you, to keep you poor and ignorant, Demora. It's easier to control a population when they're living hand in mouth and they're poor and ignorant. It benefits me as a despot. And you don't know how to organize. You don't know what's going on. You don't have the intelligence to even know that I'm working against your interests. You don't know that because you can't reason good enough to know that's what I'm doing.
And General Mosquito is saying Kenya is fucked up. It is, General Mosquito. It is. Africa generally is.
I know you're not talking Mr. Guy named. I'm gonna keep it 100. Ghana is even worse than Kenya. I'm gonna keep it 100. Ghana is worse than Kenya, General Mosquito. Worse than Kenya. As bad as Kenya is, Ghana's worse.
But I'm happy Ghana defaulted on bonds, on the Euro bond at least. I don't know if they defaulted because they were broke or they defaulted because they want to be rebellious. I hope it was the second option. But they defaulted on their Euro bond, and that is, I don't know the reason, but that is commendable for them.
It ain't no rebellious. They wouldn't be rebellious. They were being broke. It wasn't about no rebellion, Jamore. You better believe that. It's a rebellion. Get out of here.
I hope Ghana decided they're not paying this people anymore.
Please, Jamore. Jamore, you make me laugh. Stop with the joke. Stop with the joke. Stop with the joke. Stop with the joke, Zamora. You think they defaulted because they were being rebellious? We refuse to pay the European. Come on, Zamora. You know that ain't what happened.
You have to give some credit to General Mosquito's country. Maybe they decided they are not going to pay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I believe that when goddamn when pigs fly, she get out of here.
Yeah, and so the conversation goes on, and you look at African women getting raped, getting killed, getting molested, getting all kind of mistreatment in Arab countries, especially, in the Gulf and in the Middle East. And most end up getting used as sex toys to satisfy the population living there. And the government watches. It has embassies there, and it still continues to send more workers there. And it is very sad because most of the people who leave to go to the Middle East and the Gulf, they come back dead or traumatized. But the government really... I wanted to say the government doesn't care, but then I remembered it cares.
Exactly. And the Kenyan government, not just Kenya, African government won't do nothing. You got to come on with body bags in Uganda. What's the government done? Nothing. Because Africans don't have no real military to fight nobody. They can fight their own people. They can't fight other countries. And like I said with Museveni, talking shit about Kenya not cutting out their pipeline because that's what they were supposed to do. You're going to give your oil to the Arabs, but you want to use my pipeline? No, you can't use my pipeline. Go pound sand and have you the Arabs build it. Museveni and them, they don't got no real military to invade no Kenya. So shut the fuck up. So everybody got to go. We're going to the African criminal court. You do what you got to do, moron. I don't care what you do.
All these jokes just write themselves. For example, we had Nigeria, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday, cancel Kenyan degree saying that Kenya is a corrupt country. So a Kenyan degree is not...
Who said that? Nigeria?
Nigeria saying Kenya is corrupt. So a Kenyan degree in Nigeria.
Hey, hold on. Ain't that like the kettle? Isn't that like the kettle calling the... Isn't that like the pot calling the kettle black, Demore?
The Nigerians say Kenyans are corrupt, you're not taking their degrees anymore. If you have a Kenyan degree, it's not valid. These jokes just write themselves.
One of the most corrupt countries on the planet telling you I can't accept your degree.
Probably the most.
Yeah, well, I was going to say one of the most corrupt countries on the planet is now going to tell you Your Kenyan degree ain't worth shit. We can't be fucking around with that shit. Good job. We can't get it put. I don't think nobody from Kenya is running to Nigeria to get no fucking job. So who gives a shit? Who gives a shit whether you accept my diploma or not? That's not the main. I'm not sitting in Kenya. But you know what? I think it would be good to run to Nigeria to try to get a job when the job situation is more fucked up in Nigeria than it is in Kenya.
No, I'll be unemployed in Kenya, but I have electricity, than be unemployed and in the dark at the same time. I mean, one struggle at least.
The idea that anybody from Kenya is running to Nigeria, Demore, for employment is laughable.
The story goes, the story that made Nigeria ban Kenyan degree certificate. So there was a foreign journalist, I don't know from which media house, I can't remember the name, but he was able to obtain a Kenyan degree in 17 minutes. In 2 months, sorry. Was it? Yeah, in 2 months, not 17 minutes. The 17 minutes was a driving license. 2 months, he was able to obtain a Kenyan degree in 2 months, a 4-year degree in 2 months.
That's because of money. That's the same thing you better do in Nigeria too. You do the same thing if you do an investigation, pay some money, you do the same thing in every African country. Nigeria, Ghana, Uganda, all of them do more. So they're trying to shout out Kenya and stupid because it'd be all of them. Every last one of them. So, and anyway, what do I care about going to damn Nigeria? What do I care about going to Nigeria where there ain't no jobs for your own people? I got my degree from Kenya. I'm not going to Nigeria no damn way. What am I going to do? I'm going
to go to Tinubu. Why? What is the reason behind? Yeah, and talking about oppression in the Gulf and in the Middle East, this is something that has been in the public knowledge. People know, and it happens. And this happens because they know you are from a country that does not care about you. So there is nothing that is going to happen to me. And we have seen, when they reach there, their passports are confiscated, so they can't even be able to leave and go back to Kenya. So this is a small picture that was done on the same. I want you to see just how much us destroying Africa is causing, Yeah. This is a documentary by MTV.
How you doing, man? You good?
Yeah, man.
Trying to maintain. Like you just woke up.
In Molo, Nakuru County, we meet Grace Wangoi. The journey to healing has been slow and painful after the demise of her daughter, who also acted as the family's breadwinner. When Catherine Wangeshi left the country in September 2014 for Saudi Arabia, she expected nothing but the best, and her family was there to support her.
Kaniambia kwamba amepata kazi huko ya kufunza watoto Kiingereza na Kiswahili, na pia kazi ya nyumba alikuwa anafanya.
For 1.5 years, Wangeshi worked as a domestic worker with a family in Riyadh. She was respected, and the money she sent home put her siblings through school and college and paid her mother's hospital bills.
Tulikuwa tukiwasiliana tu vizuri, ananiuliza mambo ya mtoto anaendeleaje. Alikuwa akiwa na furaha, hata tukiongea namuuliza kuna shida yoyote, ananiambia hapana. Hii familia venye tunakaa hatuna shida. Mpaka mwezi 2016 mwezi wa 5 ndio tulikatiza mawasiliano. Aliniandikia peace call. So nikajaribu kumuita na hatukuweza kwa sababu simu haikuwa inaingia. Nikajaribu the following day pia nikajaribu kumuita, haikuingia, na kutoka hapo mawasiliano ikakatika tu hivyo. Brother yake ndio alienda Nairobi embassy, lakini ni baada ya miezi 4 kuinsist tujue ni kwa nini hatujakubaliwa tuwe tukiwasiliana naye. Wakaambiwa waandike barua. Sasa ripoti yenye ilirudi ni hiyo ya mambo ya kifo.
But it was a tussle to get her body home.
Tulikuwa tumeambiwa itakaa muda yani 6 to 6 months, hivyo ndivyo tulikuwa tumeambiwa, lakini ilikuja baada ya miezi miwili. Kama huyo agent mwenye alimpeleka hakuna.
You gotta translate that for us a little bit, Demore. What the hell she saying?
It has subtitles for those who are watching, but for those who are listening, for those who are watching, they can read the subtitles. But for those of you who are maybe working and listening, so this is a mother explaining how the daughter got a job in Riyadh, in the Gulf. And so when she went there, she was sending money back home, and the money was going towards the mother's hospital bill and educating her kids. She had kids. And then one day the phone went off and she wouldn't communicate with the family anymore. And so the family had to go to the embassy to inquire. And after a few months, they were told that she died 6 months ago. And now they have to wait for another 6 months for the body to be delivered to Kenya. And she had died in the Gulf. And let's find out how she died.
Yeah, okay.
Beside the body was her passport, which had initially been confiscated from her, and a letter that stated that she had committed suicide.
Yeah, so they said she committed suicide.
That's a lie. You know it's a lie. Why would she? That's why she didn't go to a whole nother country to commit no suicide.
Yeah. And when you reach there, your passport is confiscated, so you can't even be back to your country.
And the sad thing about it, these no good bastards in Africa, these recruiters don't tell these girls nothing what to expect. As long as they get their little fees for getting them over there, don't tell them about their passports being confiscated. They don't tell them none of this shit. And so because the poverty system is always now predatory. Now that the poverty is so bad in Africa, these systems are predatory towards their own people now, because everybody's now put in survival mode. You don't give a shit about the little girl that you're sitting over there in harm's way. You don't give a shit. As long as you can eat your goddamn daily bowl of fucking ugali and shit. Go ahead.
They said her reason of death was suicide, and the family, of course, is a poor family. It can't be able to question anything, and
her family was
take the body and bury it.
But unconvinced. The suicide theory did not fit the letter sent by the Saudi authorities.
Unajua mimi sikuwa na nguvu wakati huo kumwangalia vizuri, lakini mwenye alinicheki vizuri aliona ni kama hapa.
Yeah, so she's saying that when the body came and they looked at the body, it had a scar on the neck. But they were saying it was suicide. It looked like she had a cut on the neck.
And I know they were fixing the body up. They know she was murdered. But since Kenya has no power, the death spots don't give a shit about their own people. They don't care about their own little pocket. And they're weak and ignorant. They don't got no power. So, yeah. And then they were stupid to send their kid over there because they didn't know all about money. They go over there and send us back money. As we talk about the black tax in Africa, that these greedy ass parents don't care about sending their kids over to these places they don't know nothing about. You know, don't know shit about. And it causes them to put their lives in harm's way. But as long as you send me money, bring me money back, bring me money, instead of making your own government create jobs for you to have employment in your own country. You won't do that. But let me send my daughters over there. Do you know what's going on there? I don't know nothing. No, they send me back money. Send me money. I need money. So I'm going over there to work for your ass. No, you take your old ass over there.
In as much as General Mosquito is saying we are fucked up as a country, we would rather be broke but free and alive than go to a place with a Gulf, get a few dollars which won't even help you. What is slavery?
You know what? You won't help you tomorrow because you got to send that shit back to your family. So you still broke. Your family's getting all the money. They're not going to save it. They're going to spend on them. And as you see, African families don't give a shit about you. Most of them don't. They'll spend your money. You work there 5 years, come back, don't got shit. You've been caught. You've been spit on. You've been raped. Luckily, you got in with your life, so you come back to nothing. Your family has spent all the damn money up. So what the fuck was you going over there to begin with? How did it benefit you? I don't never hear no success stories about nobody going to Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. It's always some misery shit. Then most Africans, when they get over there, they don't got the money to make it back.
It is always what I have in the title. In pursuit of greener pastures. They think that they are going for greener pastures. You know? And it never ends well. And this is the situation in almost each and every African country. And this is what we saw in one of the worst massacres we've ever had in terms of immigration in Africa. In this century, it was called the massacre that happened in Spain, in Morocco, in the border of Morocco and Spain.
Yeah, I'm sure what the more is gonna show up. I was teaching Katie and Joby. Let them know, these are Morocco's in Africa, but they're not African people. Those are invaders. So they have no. I try to teach you, the Africans get treated like shit in North Africa. It's your continent, but you don't control that part of Africa no more. So you had a group of Africans who always flood the north trying to get into Europe. And so Spain had paid Morocco to beat up these Africans or kill them, whatever they do, so they would not be able to cross the Strait of Gibraltar getting into Spain. So you had a bunch of thieves.
Most of the people were killed by Moroccan authorities as opposed to Spanish police. Most of the Africans who were killed in that massacre were killed by fellow Africans from Morocco.
Those are not Africans, Demore. They're not Africans.
And that's why I'm a big supporter of Sahrawi. You know, a country that is trying to break from the shackles of Morocco. And I know most Africans do not recognize Sahrawi, but I'm a big supporter of it. A country that is trying to break away from Morocco, because Morocco is one racist country.
Because it's not Africa. Those guys understand your history. North Africa was invaded by the Islamists. That was invaded in the 7th and 8th century, taking over African kingdoms and enslaving African people, either unaliving them but taking them back into Arabia as slaves and changing the population, the demographics of the north. So that's what you got. That's what you got happening. In Morocco. There's no camaraderie with you. You can think of now they live in Africa. Those are not Africans. I don't know how many times they got to tell you African people. You guys make them Africans. They tell you we're not Africans. They're not. They're not Africans.
And our stream has been deleted on Facebook again. I don't know why. I'm seeing a notification saying the stream on Facebook has been deleted.
Because you're speaking too much truth. That's why.
I haven't even started speaking, kids. We are just speaking casual things.
Yeah, because as African, you're not supposed to know what's going on. You're supposed to be stupid and docile.
And hello, Jibajaba, who's just joined me. Today we're talking about pursuit of greener pastures and how Africans have that mentality that living in Africa is going to bring greener pastures. And I was just about to tell you about the Melia massacre. This is a massacre that happened. So let me tell you about the Melia massacre. So the year is 2022, it's 24th of June. And there's a Spanish territory called Melia. But funny thing, this Spanish territory is in Morocco, but it is a Spanish territory. It is a strip of land in Morocco that borders Spain, but it is a Spanish territory nevertheless. So in this massacre, about 100 people were killed because they say 40 were killed and 60 are unaccounted for. You can just feel it for yourself where the 60 unaccounted for are. So it started when around 1,500 people from, most of them were asylum seekers from Sudan and South Sudan. So they went to an area called Mount Gurugu in Morocco. They were headed to Melilla because they wanted to get into Spain. And Melilla is a small Spanish town. It has about 85,000 people, but it is in Africa. I remember that. And so to the surprise of the 1,500 South Sudanese and Sudanese people, nobody asked them anything as they were crossing the border. And they were surprised. But this is what happened. So the Moroccan police banned shopkeepers from selling anything to them. And taxi drivers were banned from talking to them. And so these people were able to cross to Melilla, but they were not able to buy anything from the shops or to buy from the shopkeepers. And by mid-June, the migrants were feeling trapped because they couldn't get food, they couldn't migrate, and they couldn't stay where they were because of fear of getting arrested. And so they decided to climb over the wall and jump into now the other side of Spain. There is a place called Barrio Chino. There is a street called Barrio Chino. So they wanted to jump over the fence to Spain. And in the morning of 24th June, they did that. They went to Barrio Chino and they began climbing the wall surrounding it. Hundreds and hundreds of Africans, about 1,700 Africans. And they were jumping and falling into the other side. And at that point, the Moroccan authorities and the Spanish police opened fire on them. And they threw tear gas canisters at them, and they handcuffed them. And about 100 people died that day. Most of them died from either lack of enough oxygen because of the being handcuffed, lying on the ground, and being tear gassed. The others died because of the beating they got, and others were trampled on. And the president of Spain came out and said, and actually congratulated the forces for doing that. He said that they were protecting the Spanish border. And he actually said it is not them that did that, it was the Moroccan police. And the Moroccan police said that it was doing that to protect the Spanish border. And I saw a video of one of the survivors being interviewed, and he was saying it reached a point where the Moroccan police were no longer treating them like humans, they were treating them like animals, because they've already beaten you to the ground, you're handcuffed, but they're still beating your head and throwing tear gas on your head. And that is how about 100
because the Africans haven't been taught. Who are your enemies? You've been taught nonsense, religion, everybody loves you. And when you come out of Africa, you don't know who your enemies are. You don't, and it's a disservice. Shout out to all the African immigrants who are now in Europe who now know that. We were never taught who our enemies are. We were never taught these people didn't like us. We were taught lies by missionaries and all kind of religious nonsense. Yes, you've been taught lies. These people have been your historical enemy, and that's how they're treating you. But since you don't know your history and they kept it from you, you don't know these people are your enemies, and they're treating you as such. They stole those countries from you, and you don't know that. You think those white people have always been in North Africa. They have not. Africa is named after you, Africa, black people, not white people. Those are invaders. That's why we got taken off of Facebook. You're not as Africans, you're not supposed to ever know nothing. You're supposed to be docile, ignorant, and smile. Don't know shit. You waking up is a threat to global power, Tamore. You are a threat as a young man knowing shit. You're a threat to the power scheme of the planet. You are a threat. And I don't need you infecting other young Africans to think and know what you know. You are a threat. That's why they take you down. And you're supposed to say, oh, we're all friends. Oh, the white man's my buddy. Oh, he loves me. By smashing your head and tear gassing your ass.
And we might talk about slavery and a lot of things abroad. You know, I might talk about slavery in Europe, slavery in the West, but the amount of slavery even in Africa is insane. If you look at Morocco, for example, you know, these people...
Morocco, Mauritania, Libya, and ask yourself, Tamore, why haven't none of these despots declared war on none of these Arab countries in the north for having African men, women, and children as slaves? These are acts of war. These are acts of war. Nobody would allow their people, besides Africans, to be enslaved by other people. They go to war. African countries don't say shit. I don't know. I haven't seen nothing. Any African leaders say anything about it? No. But they wanted to go to war against an African country trying to get free. Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger. They wanted to go to war because the white man told them to go to war for that. But not go to war to free their own African people. Not that. That's how much Africa is controlled. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not going to go to war to free African people that are enslaved today. I'm going to go to war because the white man said because these other Africans are getting free. How dare these niggas don't do what the European tells them to do? How dare they ask?
And Ikan Fire is saying Arabs are the creators of human trafficking. They're the first people who stopped taking people's passports. So he's saying they are the creators of human trafficking and have been doing this for the longest.
Yep. Hey, did you hear any of these African and these guys, any African Negroes say anything about it? And we know that's a fact. That human trafficking is big in the Arabic country. The degradation of people, the slavery, the human trafficking, the child rape is going on. Can these African leaders say one word? No. Because they're all cowards. No.
And Stacy is saying, let Africans stay in Africa, which I agree because, as I was saying, we end up exporting our productive demographic. Our productive demographic is the one that is scaling walls to go to Spain. It is the one that is getting shot at to go to Spain. These are Africans who should be developing Africa. But then you have also, it is also hard for you to develop Africa with the kind of leadership we have, if we have leadership at all.
You don't have leadership. That's true at all. No, you don't have. Remember, Ruto's also trying to get the Germans to bring African Kenyans and other Africans into Germany to do manual labor because their demographic is imploding. Mm-hmm. So they need African labor. So since they haven't done shit at home, create jobs, he's shipping his problems overseas.
And the West has also taken this as a business. When I say as a business, I mean in this way. For example, for a Kenyan to apply for a US visa, it costs about 21,000 Kenya shillings. That is about $210 to apply for a US visa. And statistics say that 1 out of 20 visas are the ones that are going to be accepted. You know, if 20 of us were to apply for a US visa today, only one will be accepted. And hundreds and hundreds of people apply for these visas every day. I mean visas to go to the US, to go to Canada.
They don't get their money back?
Who gives you the money back, Keith? All you will get is an email saying, we regret to inform you that. That is all you are getting. Nobody is giving you your money back.
Damn.
And so it's a business, and they have realized that Africans are easy to the little you save, you go to the US embassy, you get your $210 embezzled because you're not going to get it back. You don't get a visa. You try now a visa in Canada. I don't know, Canada is about 28,000. You also don't get that one. So you go try in UK, and the circle goes on, and they earn from it because hundreds of people try this every year. Hundreds of people try every day. You know, there is the US green card that was launched a few months ago, and you meet Kenyans queuing up on cyber cafes, that is to apply for green cards. Everyone wants to leave Africa. As I said, there is a mass exodus. Everyone wants to get out of here. And as I started by saying, it was Chinua Achebe who said, nobody leaves home unless home is the mouth of a lion. So, of course, everyone will want to stay at their home. It is more comfortable here. Everyone will want to be in Africa. But then we have destroyed Africa so much that everyone now wants, I don't know if you know, so in JKIA, there is a place that there's a section that has a card, a sign with Kwaheri Kenya, a sign that is written Kwaheri Kenya. I don't know if I'll get that picture. So Kwaheri Kenya means goodbye Kenya. So there's a sign somewhere in Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. And if you post a picture with that, people will congratulate you. You know, it looks like you've just escaped a war zone. And that happens, I know it happens for each and every country in Africa. You know, leaving Africa is seen as an achievement. If I were to post a picture tomorrow in front of that sign that says Kwaheri Kenya, everybody will see my status or will come into my DM with congratulations. You know, it looks like a very big achievement. That is how we have destroyed a continent that is supposed to be at the forefront of everything. It's supposed to be the one leading in terms of development. It's the one that is supposed, you know, the people from Spain should be the one jumping into Morocco, and we should be the one tear gassing them. But it's the other way around. We are the one getting killed and tear gassed, you know, and we are running away from a mineral endowed continent. We are running away from a continent that is so blessed, going to other regions that do not even have anything to offer apart from richness that they got from minerals and things they stole from us. So if you look at it, it is a very sad thing, and it is going to continue happening as long as we have the kind of leadership we have, if we have leadership at all. So this is the sign that I'm telling you. There's this section at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. So if you take a picture here, you are seen as someone who has escaped from, you know, it is almost heroic to get out of Kenya, and people will congratulate you. And that is the same case in the whole of Africa. And you look at some of the countries in Africa, you look at a country like DRC, you look at how rich it is. You look at a country like Nigeria, ignoring the fact that they are corrupt people, very corrupt. Look at their mineral. Look at how rich Nigeria is with all their fuel, with all their jollof rice, with everything they have. Why would you want to get out of Nigeria if we had functional governments and functional leaderships? If we had functional leadership, then we'd be able to create industries that would work for us, you know, because one of the biggest secrets to Africa advancing is industrialization and actually investing in our agriculture, because we have some very good, we have some very good climate, good soils, hardworking people. Our agricultural sector should be among the biggest, if not the biggest in the world, because we never have winter, we never have summer in Africa. It's always raining, it's always fertile here. But if you look at our agriculture, you come to a country like, go to Ethiopia, they produce coffee. So they will produce coffee and they'll export the coffee as raw materials. And they'll export the coffee to the UK, to the West. They will import back, what they'll do is they'll import back Nescafe, which is processed coffee. So we export raw materials, we import finished products. And that is how we continue to linger in poverty, because we cannot even take advantage of the areas that we are good in. For example, agriculture. I mean, imagine if Ethiopia was to create an industry that processes coffee and exports processed coffee. Imagine if Kenya was to create an industry that processes tea and it exports processed tea, rather than exporting raw materials, tea in raw form. You know, that doesn't bring back any income. It brings negligible income. It just keeps the farmers poor. You know, you look at the milk, the dairy industry. So we are going to have cows and we are going to milk the cows, but we are going to export milk as a raw material, you know, unprocessed milk. We export unprocessed milk, and that is not going to benefit our farmers in any way. What if we had industries that could process the milk and export the milk as processed milk? You know, it is called value addition. What if we've added value to our agricultural products? What if we added value to our leather, textile industries? We would be exporting leather shoes. I mean, the Maasais have hundreds and hundreds of cattle, but they can't even, we don't have one single leather and textile industry in Kenya or in Africa that works, that I can point at and say that is a big textile industry in Africa. You know, it is even working with what we have, investing in our agriculture, working on value addition, not exporting raw materials, but adding value to what we produce so that we can be able to get more from it. And Keith, I had lost you for a minute, and I can say you're back.
Oh, yeah, I'm in a bad error. Well, I'm listening to you.
And I still can't hear him well. I think you are in a bad area with bad network. And so I was talking about value addition in agriculture, because agriculture, I would say agriculture is the backbone of Africa's economy. Because if you go to Ghana, they are farmers. If you go to Uganda, you'll find them farming bananas. They are good banana farmers. If you come to Kenya, we are farming maize and producing good ugali. If you go to Ethiopia, you'll find them growing coffee. Even before we get to the minerals, which are also supposed to be a big contributor to our economy, because the minerals we have is insane. And if we would be able to process them ourselves, and if we were not a puppet continent like we are, then we would be in a very advantaged position in a world where currency is backed up by gold, reportedly. In a world where they say currency is backed up by gold and minerals, but they don't have the minerals. We have the minerals. Then imagine the bargaining power Africa would have if only it was not a puppet continent, with all its diamonds, with all its fuel, with all its copper, with all its its cobalt in DRC. Right now we are talking about going green and how we are moving to renewable energy, but you don't realize that renewable energy cannot work if we do not incorporate DRC. But now imagine if we were not a puppet continent as we are. Let us just drown in Zootopia for a moment. In utopia, like in a world that cannot be because we are a puppet continent. But for a minute, just imagine we were not, and we had the bargaining power, and we were telling Tesla, you're not going to export cobalt from us if you do not pay this amount. Imagine how rich DRC would be. Imagine how rich Cameroon would be with its diamonds. Imagine how rich Ethiopia would be with its coffee. Imagine how rich Africa would be if we were not a puppet state.
Africa is wealthy. You can say and imagine. Africa is wealthy. The people are poor. Africa is wealthy.
The lands are wealthy, but the people are in poverty. The people are poor because we are a puppet continent. We are a yes sir continent. We are told what to do, and we do it very fast without questioning anything. And it is not a question of bad leadership. It is a question of installed leadership. I actually used to think it was a question of bad leadership, but after I thought about what Keith was saying about, it is a statistical absurdity. It is a statistical impossibility to have 54 bad leaders. It is impossible. It is impossible to have 54 bad leaders. We would at least be having one country in Africa that is developed, but we do not have. So the problem is not bad leadership. It is installed leadership. And I'm using leadership for lack of a better word, because there is no leadership there. It is installed leadership. Leaders are installed there with agendas, and they need to drive those agendas. And if they do not drive those agendas, then they are kicked off. Their planes are blown off. And this happens. This has been happening for the longest, and it is still going to happen until maybe one day when Africa will wake up and realize how it is and how much we can achieve if we were united as a continent. Because sometimes I think our biggest downfall is our disunity. Because if you look at a country like, let's say, a country like Ghana is a country is too small for it to stand against, let's say, the Bretton Woods institutions. It is too small of a country to stand against, let's say, France. But if Africa was united the way Kwame Nkrumah used to advocate for, and Lumumba talking about having a united Africa, that we do not have to have one leader, but let's unite in some fronts. Let's unite in our military. Let's unite in our currency. Let's unite in our policy making. I mean, let us have a united front in policy making. If you want to sign a deal with if you want to sign a deal with Cameroon, you don't go to Cameroon. You come to
No,
Africa.
all of Africa. Exactly right. Exactly right. But now you understand it. And the European will fight like hell. And the Chinese will fight like hell to make sure that never happens.
Because ESA, and this was what in the 1972 conference that took place and it took place in Ethiopia. The then president of Central African Republic said, I can't remember his name, but he said in the conference, and the speeches are there online. You can go look at the speeches that were done on that front by the likes of Kwame Nkrumah. And the then president of Central African Republic said, Central African Republic is too small, and France will be back. If we do not unite, the French people will be back in Central African Republic because we are too small of a country. And he was right. Before he was removed from power, the French people.
Why do you think they made all these countries up to control them easy? These borders were created by the Europeans to control Africa. That's why. They don't benefit African people. They would never design to benefit African people like a Kenya, a Uganda, a Ghana, a Nigeria. They benefit the Europeans, not African people.
And this is going to continue. You know, if you look at Africa right now, majority of Africa's economy lies on the Bretton Woods institutions. You know, if we do not get a loan from the IMF, then we are closing down tomorrow. You know, we cannot sustain ourselves because we are in a hole, and instead of finding a way to get out of the hole, we are digging further. And you look at the Bretton Woods institutions, you know, that were created after the Bretton Woods Conference in 1944. How many African states were independent in 1944? So that if you look at the IMF, you look at one of the Bretton Woods institution is the IMF. You look at their charter, you know, they have a very beautiful charter, you know, they are objective. I think it was written by ChatGPT. They have a very beautiful objective. I don't know, bringing balance between developed countries and underdeveloped countries, sending help to third world countries in Africa. And you look at that and you ask yourself, how many countries were independent back then in 1944 for the original objective of the IMF to be to help African countries? We were not even independent. But it was supposed to help African countries. And so most of the African countries run on the Bretton Woods system. They run on the Bretton Woods system. They run on IMF. They run on World Bank. They run on African Development Bank. And you talk about African Development Bank as being an African bank. But if you were to look at financials of the African Development Bank, 80% of the financials of African Development Bank are foreigners. And you speak of an African Development Bank run by foreigners, and you forget that whoever pays the piper calls the tune. So how are you going to call the tune for an institution you do not even finance in African Development Bank? You know, you look at an organization that was created in 1982, that was created it later came to become the African Union. It was first called the OAU, the Organization of African Union. It was created after a plan of action that happened in Lagos. It was called the Lagos Plan of Action, where they were talking about how they are going to unite African countries and have a united economic system, how they are going to have a united Africa. And so they created the OAU, which later came to become the AAU. If you look at the financials of the OAU, you look at the financials of the now AU, majority of them are foreigners, but you claim AU is working for you. So how can an institution you do not finance work for you? I want you to think about that. How can an institution that you do not finance work for you? You forget that whoever pays the piper calls the tune. And whoever is controlling the budget of the AU will call the tune any day, any time. And so you talk about having AU defense forces that had been sent in, you know, we had African defense forces that have been sent in Congo. We had defense forces, I don't know, IGAD forces wanting to be sent where. But you have to look at who finances these forces. And whoever finances these forces is the one who's... And so, you know, you're going to talk to some Africans and tell them, we need to unite as Africans. And they are going to tell you, we are already united. We have the AU. We have the AU has a defense force. How many wars has the AU defense? How many terrorist groups has the AU defense force eliminated?
None.
Boko Haram in Nigeria kidnapping school girls. What is the AU defense force doing? What is the military wing of the AU doing? I've only heard of the military wing of IGAD when Niger had a coup. That was when they were threatening to come in. I don't remember if it was the IGAD or the ECOWAS, one of them. It was threatening to come in. That was the only time. It was actually the point that I realized, I never knew you guys had a military wing. You mean you've had a military wing all this time? We had school girls getting kidnapped in Nigeria and your military wing was not acting. But right now, because Niger had a coup, you want to go in there and, and that is the situation in Africa. That is the real situation in Africa. That is the situation of this is what I always quote Chinua Achebe because he's one of the most sane-minded writers we had in Africa in his time and up to now, wrote very good books. And he said every problem that African faces is a political one. Even what we are talking, look at whatever topics are going to be discussed on Black Hot Fire or whatever topics are going to be discussed in relation to Africa. 90%, not all of them are going to be political problems. For example, today we are talking about how pursuit of greener pastures and how Africans are leaving Africa for the West. It is a political problem. They are leaving because of not bad leadership, installed leadership. I mean, next week, whatever we are going to be talking about, it doesn't matter what it is. Then if you are going to come here and talk about the spread of HIV/AIDS in Africa, it is still going to have a political front. It is a problem of politics. And so to address the problems you have in Africa, politics and the problem of policies, having policies that work for Africans, having policies that were not created in Europe, having judicial systems that use rules, that use regulations and rules and guidelines that were created for Africans, because we still have judicial systems where judges have to wear white hair on the head so that they have for them to make a judgment. We cannot hear a judge if he doesn't have white hair on his hair, So we still use constitutions that were drafted in the 60s, in the 50s by the colonial systems.
By white people. Right.
Yeah, we still colonial systems in our education. Our curriculum is still colonial based. That is why we cannot teach our kids on STEM. We cannot teach our kids on science, on technology, on robotics, on mathematics. Instead, what do we teach them? We teach them about religion. Instead we teach them about history that has been fabricated, because it is an education system that is oppressive, that was made, an education system that was tailored. It was not made. There's a difference between made and tailored. Made is just made. Tailored is, I look at you and I tailor, I make a custom, I tailor a custom system for you to keep you oppressed. So instead of teaching you about robotics, instead of teaching you about mathematics, science and technology, and how you can develop your healthcare system, I'm not going to do that. I'll teach you about the call of Abraham. And if you do not pass that, then you're not going to get a degree, So it is education systems that have been tailored, not just education systems. It is political systems, economic systems, education systems, legal systems, tailored to keep Africa poor. And we do not see the big picture, because you grow up, you are born in poverty, you are born to believe that Africa is supposed to be poor. So you grow up watching, if I was talking about the mental conditioning, if you were to go to Google, for example, right now, and you Google an image of Kenya, they're not going to show you the beautiful part of Kenya. They're going to show you Kibera directly. If you were to Google an image of Nigeria, they're going to show you an image of the slums. And so what that does is it conditions Africans to believe that we are poor by design. We are supposed to be poor. We are poor by birth, And so we do not question things. We believe that we are supposed to be like this. And when you look at the West, if I was to Google maybe an image of, let's say, Washington, D.C., they're going to show me beautiful, beautiful images of it. And therefore, we have what we call the Western dream. I wake up dreaming of one day I'm going to leave this place. I do not dream of changing this place. I dream of leaving, getting the hell out of here and going to the Hollywood Europe that I see, the Hollywood US that I see, the Hollywood UK that I see. And I do not care about Africa because I've been conditioned to believe that Africa is poor, it is supposed to be poor, and the West is developed and it is supposed to be developed. And it is a problem of conditioning that has accumulated from the oppressive, from the colonial education system that we still use, you know. And I can go on and talk, but I can see that my time is up. And HR the Messenger is coming up with What's the Radar in a bit. And this has been the diary of a young black king. I don't know if Phil is still with me. I cannot be able to hear you, kid, because your network is so bad. Are you driving through Uganda? I don't know if Kid is driving through Uganda, but I cannot be able to hear whatever he's saying. So this has been the diary of a young black king, and this was our first show of the year, and we are talking about the In Pursuit of Greener Pastures, tales of Africans who leave Africa for the West and how it ends. It never ends well. It ends in coffins. It ends in racism. It ends in rape. It ends in oppression, especially for those who go to the Gulf and the Middle East. And I've said especially because those are the cases that are more rampant. But that doesn't mean that even for those who go to, even for those who go to the West and Europe, most of them, but it is all in pursuit of greener pastures. It is because Africa has been destroyed. You go to a country and 52%, you go to Sudan and 52% of the people in Sudan are unemployed. Half the population of a country is unemployed. How do you expect to find a job when half the population is already unemployed? You come to Kenya and 2.2 million people are unemployed. You go to Rwanda and you find I don't know what percentage is unemployed. And therefore it is, sometimes in as much as I ridicule and sometimes I understand the people who leave Africa to go to, let's say, the UK, because it has been destroyed by bad installed leadership. But it is not too late. I know there's still hope. If you are to look, if you are to read, if you are to listen to the language, if you are to listen to the winds, then you'll hear that, you'll be able to comprehend that there are winds of change blowing. People are waking up, and Africa is realizing that Africa is waking up and realizing that it is a blessed continent and it's supposed to be in riches. It is supposed to be at the forefront. It's supposed to be trailblazing the world in terms of development. And so it may not happen in the next 10 years. It may not happen in the next 20 years, maybe not in the next 50. But you can feel it. You can feel that eventually Africa will wake up and claim its rightful place. And this has been the diary of a young black king. Happy New Year to all our listeners. I haven't had a chance to tell you Happy New Year because this is our first show. We're going to have more shows this year. We're going to have a lot of interesting conversation. So make sure to join me every Saturday from 12 to 2 p.m. on the diary of a young black king. And this has been Dimore. And I hope you enjoyed the rest of your weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure.